Nickelodeon is a television channel loved by millions. However, it has a bad reputation in Orlando, ever since that one broadcast intrusion that has traumatized many children in 2001. I used to work at Viacom International when I was 26, specifically to oversee and monitor the broadcasts on their vast selection of pay television channels. At approximately 12:56 p.m. on August 28, 2001, I found something odd while monitoring a rerun of Little Bear on the Nick Jr. programming block. Since I have been diagnosed with hearing loss, I turned on the closed captions to hear what's going on. All of the sudden, the program that was playing cuts to a still image of a faceless Little Bear. I swore I never saw that image in any episode of Little Bear, or any Nick Jr. show for that matter. I decided to cut the episode straight to the end credits, but little did I know, that wouldn't prevent what was about to happen. Right when the Nova logo showed up, the program malfunctioned once more, and the visuals eventually cut to a pitch-black screen. It stayed that way for a few seconds until it cut back to the closing logos. As the Nick Jr. logo played afterwards, the transmission paused, until it cut back to the logo, where the two orange and blue characters stopped moving. The Nick character's Nick text was flipped backwards, and seems to be shivering and shaking like a dog on a winter day. Junior worried walked to his orange friend, but Nick stopped shivering and smiled. It wasn't a happy smile, it was the most disturbing and crooked smile I've ever seen. Junior stops in his tracks and begins to visibly sweat in fear. Nick was mumbling something that was inaudible, at least for me. However, I looked at the captions and saw that Nick was actually saying something that seemed like some sort of riddle. What is stronger than the human heart, which shatters over and over, and without any reason? It still lives. As Nick was saying this, his limbs start to distort and extend to the point where his arms look bigger than his body. He starts growing strands of hair all over as he grows taller and taller, until only his lower legs are shown on screen. This catastrophic broadcast cuts to black for a few seconds before fading into Junior on his knees, crying. Behind him was a creature that was once supposed to be Nick, a tall, lanky humanoid with a single bulbous eye and rotten teeth. The creature reveals the answer to the riddle, me, before a prolonged sequence to the entity brutally maiming Junior in excruciating detail was shown. I was beyond disturbed at this point, so I decided to cut the broadcast to a technical difficulty screen. A few days later, I notified the FCC about the hijacking, but none of them were able to track down the individuals behind it. To this day, I am still haunted by this incident. The story about the hijacking was spread around of every news station I could possibly think of, and it's rumored that this broadcast intrusion was actually a cognitohazard that killed many children in Orlando via an anaphylactic shock, regardless of any medical conditions that they had. Nowadays, I'm trying to find a clip of this hijacking online, but all I could find was a single image, a still frame of Nick smiling.